Hi, and welcome to 647. 6 stories for 7 a.m. Because there's a famine of truth in our land. And this is your quick news fix. And the truth starts now. And guess what? We're going to start this 647 off with a special song because we have a special person who is early in on 647. She's a regular and she is having a birthday today, her 80th birthday, the absolute wonderful Janet Cicciarelli, originally from the Bronx, now in Florida, comes from that fine Italian stock. Nothing better than Italian women. They have this joie de vivre. That's all I can tell you. So are you ready, Miss Chick? Here it comes to you in the original language. Buon compleanno a te. Buon compleanno a te. Buon compleanno, Miss Cicciarelli. Buon compleanno a te. All right. Happy birthday, Miss Chick. And guess what? The battle cry for 647 is flood the zone. And that's what we're going to do. So take one. Casey Jones Trump is bringing the railroad to, you can't guess, Kazakhstan. The Orange Roughie has signed a $4 billion with a B, which stands for big deal, $4 billion deal with Kasim Jomart Kemeluli Tokayev. You can't be drinking and say that name. Try to say it a few times fast. Jomart Kemuli Tokayev. I miss his first name, Kasim. Sorry, Kasim, he's the president of Kazakhstan. We're talking locomotives. We're talking train cars. We're talking heavy rail cars. We are talking rails. And we're talking railroad ties. We're talking the whole package, the largest deal ever in railroad history. This is so Trumpian, this whole thing. It's the largest country in Central Asia. It borders Russia to the north and China to the southeast. And guess who's in between? Kazakhstan. And guess what this train's going to do? Connect these giant economies of these two countries. Is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to connect the borders of Russia and China. So why DJT is looking hard at Bagram starts to all make sense, right? All this ability to move goods and services and everything. And it's hard to be at war when everybody's like, no, let's build the economies. Let's have some fun here. Let's raise the standard of living. There is a science to what Trump is putting together. And guess what? He's bringing the money home. $4 billion from Kasim. And Kasim is saying, you're going to come here and build me a great railroad that's going to run fast and on time with top-notch equipment. I'll do it every day. So, for the same reason that Trump is looking at Bagram is because he knows he's going to build this huge railroad line. So this will connect the the economic markets of Russia and China by transiting Kazakhstan. Go Trump. All right, let's take one. Who saw that coming? Not me. All right, and then something came in just a couple hours ago. SCOTUS picks Trump for the win. All right, voting 6-3 tonight. The court favors the orange roughie to have the presidential right to fire board members who work for independent agencies under the executive branch. You want examples? Of course you do. You hear stuff like that and you go, yeah, I don't get it. So what? What are we talking about? We're talking about the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. He can hire and fire board members. We're talking about the CPSC, Consumer Product Safety Commission, right? He can dice that up. And his favorite, the Jerome Club. That's right. Trump can fire Federal Reserve Board governors. It's too good. It's too sweet. This and a $4 billion railroad deal all in one new, we're not even done. We're not even done. So I'm just telling you, there's a risk management note here. Charlie's already working up in heaven. That's why these things are happening. So the risk management note is you better go to trustandobeywithchuckfrank.com, and here's all you have to do. Text God, and then we'll get back to you on taking care of the update for your known traveler document, if you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you better text God anyway, and you'll get an answer. All right. And here's another good one. Turning Point Tour will continue. It stopped because of Charlie's passing on Wednesday. They're going to Virginia Tech on Wednesday, September 24th. Doors open at 5 p.m. It starts at 6 p.m. And guess who's stepping in for Charlie? Megyn Kelly and Governor Glenn Youngkin. And they are going to do all the give and take with the students. They'll speak, they'll answer questions, and Turning Point, they're banging it out. This whole tour is going to be just great people speaking the whole time. Will they be like Charlie? No. Will they be for Charlie? Yes. All I can say is, go Erica, go Charlie, keep doing it. Amen. All right. Health and Human Services updates. Bobby Kennedy, with a bunch of great doctors, had a meeting yesterday, and they announced that without any confusion, acetaminophen is not something that pregnant women should take, right? Not unless they're experiencing significant pain, and then only with a doctor monitoring this, and only with an extremely light dosage. In other words, acetaminophen has absolutely something to do with autism. So as far as I'm concerned, just don't take a chance. Figure out something else to do to manage the pain. Don't go near it. That's not what they're saying. That's just my opinion. And then after that, HHS decertifies a Florida organ transplant agency called Life Alliance Organ Recovery Agency at the University of Miami Department of Surgery, and one of 55 nonprofits that do this across the country and that allocate organs for transplant. So HHS went into the University of Miami to this nonprofit and did an investigation and uncovered years of unsafe practices. Now, what are we talking about here? Let's just boil it down to the main event. Unsafe practices. How about over 100 cases where they took organs out of people who were still alive? Okay? So you might say to yourself, wait a minute, what about the Hippocratic Oath and all kinds of other moral issues that have to do with don't take the organs out until they're dead? Okay, is that so hard to understand? Here's why it gets hard to understand. It's always from that Tom Cruise movie. Show me the money. I'm sitting there going, why would people do this? Why would they risk being decertified? It's got to be the money. How much money is it? So I researched that. So there are 100,000 Americans waiting for organs, and 13 people die each year waiting for organs, and 28,000 organs never find a match in the course of the year. Hello, AI, there's a perfect application for artificial intelligence, right? So, but what is the value of these organs that people would take them out of live people? You ready? Buckle up. A heart, it's worth $1 million going to the other hospital to be billed, and kind of explains why things are expensive in healthcare. Livers, 557,000. Kidneys, 262,000 each. How about skin? $10 per inch. A stomach, $500. Eyeballs, $1,500 per eyeball. Now, that's on the main medical market. These numbers are discounted by 55% on the black market. You're saying a black market? A black market for organs? Our friends, the Chinese, the just wonderful, compassionate, humanitarian Chinese CCP jerks, are harvesting organs from Uyghurs, from anyone they disagree with, prisoners in prison, and it's just awful. But they're selling these organs on the black market at a 55% discount. And there's no guarantees either. So you can see why the folks in Miami were jumping the gun. Money talks and medical morality walks. So then at the meeting on autism with Bobby Kennedy and Trump, they not only just came out large on acetaminophen being causal for pregnant women having kids with autism, but they said there's a generic drug called leucovorin and is going to be offered for free to families with autistic children. And it has a very promising ability to reverse aspects of autism. Kids who didn't speak start speaking. Kids who didn't socially interact start interacting. Some very little, but some significantly. So by treating them, they're going to figure this out. And absolute miracle may happen for all these families, that their kids will be way more functional and possibly even back to full function. So that's just absolutely amazing. And that, again, is Trump getting the right person for the Secretary of HHS. And let's remember, all the Democrats wanted him out, and so did the rhinos, because they're all on the payroll of Big Pharma. And Bobby Kennedy, like all his beliefs or not, he is getting it done. And he's getting it done for all of us. And he is so far from done. So this is just amazing stuff. And good country, America. All right. Item 3, big UN meeting in New York City this week. Europe blaming Russia for everything. They got the idea from the Democrats, right? It's very easy to set up Russia as the boogeyman. And the British promote this in terms of most of the tension of all of it. And Putin laughs at these paper tigers in Europe engaging in a theater of the absurd. So the claim for the UN meeting this week in New York City is Putin as a cartoon bad guy, flying drones over Poland, flying MiGs over Estonia, and NATO doing a soy boy flex in front of Putin and saying, you do that again, and we're going to send jets from the British Royal Air Force. And the hope is that they can turn this into World War III to solve their massive financial problems, while Ukraine becomes the barbecue pit for all of this chest pumping profiteering. So this whole group at the UN are anti-humans, making caring faces to the cameras and great speeches about humanity. And they don't mean any of it. They all want a World War III, and it's disgusting. And I wish Trump would evict the UN from that property on the East River in New York City and redevelop it as a veteran village. Okay? Let the veterans have some waterfront. Let them heal up. Not a hospital, a place for them to come and stay and live. There's too many of them homeless. There's no reason for it. We have a way to heal them of PTSD. Their lives can be rebuilt. And it's an absolute crime that the only thing being offered to them is a massive amounts of pharmaceuticals. It's terrible. All right. So that's the UN this week in New York City. Take 4. Disney says Jimmy Kimmel Live is coming back Tuesday night. No moral compass. Iger and all these folks, they got the reprobate minds. They're just broken. They can't make wise choices at all. So Disney, this is a Breitbart article by Warner Houston, and Disney and ABC have caved to the pressure from boycotts and left-wing backlash and announced Monday that Jimmy Kimmel Live will be returning to the air on Tuesday night. Disney announced on Monday that Kimmel's suspension has been lifted. And I apologize for this voice ahead of time. Last Wednesday, we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. Everybody was yelling at us, Disney said in a statement. It's a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy. Stop yelling at us. And after these conversations, we reached a decision to return the show on Tuesday. And don't yell. Kimmel's late night show was put on suspension last week after he said the man who was arrested and accused of murdering conservative activist Charlie Kirk was MAGA. It's not exactly what he said. He said it a lot worse than that, and he deserved to be spanked. In the wake of Kimmel's false claim, 2 of ABC's largest affiliates, Nexstar and Sinclair, decided not to air Kimmel, leading to Disney and ABC's decision to suspend the show. Kimmel also said to have refused to apologize. The people were yelling at us, and Jimmy wouldn't apologize. It was getting awful, and we didn't get invited anywhere. The suspension, though, brought wide condemnation from the far left, and many Hollywood elites protested loudly. They were so mean. It also drove a cancellation drive for Disney's streaming services, Disney Plus. Who cares? What a bunch of wimps. Man, they're going to be sorry they did this. They think they won the loyalty of the left. The left is cannibalistic. They eat their own. And Jimmy's not going to behave well. He's a jerk, and he's a reprobate. He can't behave well. He can't make the decision. Let's see. Should I say this? Well, it's inappropriate at this time. Yeah, but my mind doesn't process that. I'm going to say it anyway because I'll say anything to get attention from the left. You're going to get some attention. It's going to be funny to watch. Okay, take 5. Vermont Christian school reinstated after being banned for refusing to compete against trans athletes. Now, Trump's already passed laws saying you get no federal funding if you continue to do this. We're going to make this against the law. We're going to protect girls in their sports. And there's already been a half a dozen girls permanently injured by having to go up against guys in volleyball and in boxing and all kinds of stuff. So a federal appeals court has ruled in favor of a Christian school in Vermont that was banned by state officials from participating in school competitions for refusing to play against a team with a transgender identifying athlete. Good job, Christian school. And of course, here's Vermont, this beautiful, beautiful state. And this is what the left does. They go to the most beautiful places and destroy them. So this is more of that. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit issued an order on September 9th overturning a lower court order and granting a preliminary injunction to Mid-Vermont Christian School, blocking the Vermont Principals Association expulsion of the school as litigation goes on. The panel of judges ruled that the school is likely to succeed on its free exercise claim because the Vermont Principals Association, can you just guess what a group that is, right? The Vermont Principals Association's actions show hostility toward the school's religious beliefs. That is an understatement. But a great win for the Christian school. And again, Charlie's up there. He's helping things out. We're just going to flatten the left on all these fronts. This is nothing. This show should have been titled Big Wins All the Way Around. Thank you, Charlie. All right, take 6. You're at the end of this. There are people who actually care how long I go over 15 minutes. So this is another study in our arms study, right? The Advanced Reprobate Mind Study. I know you're tired of hearing that word, but it's a major part of our environment. But this is actually a hopeful study because this is a reprobate mind reversal. All right, October 7th is coming up, and that's the anniversary of the attack in Israel in a world that is increasingly anti-Semitic and begets a miracle healing of the reprobate mind. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about a new Jewish gun club with New York chapters featuring bullets and bagels as October 7th date nears. So Ian Friedman opened Locks and Loaded, a Jewish gun club that also serves bagels and a schmear. Ian says this was born out of necessity for Jews seeking firearms training to prepare for possible violence during the Jewish holidays. And yesterday evening at sundown began the new year for the Jews, Rosh Hashanah. And Yom Kippur is coming up on October 1st. So they're getting prepared. So they want firearms training to prepare for possible violence during Jewish holidays. Historically, they have been anti-Second Amendment, but our Jewish friends are deciding to defend effectively when there is no other choice. That could be the beginning of healing. L'chaim, Bobby. Come join us on the Second Amendment side. Or as we say in New York, one in the chamber. 9 in the mag, 10 in the second mag. Life is good. And life's good for us when you do what? When you share us, when you like us, when you make comments, and the big one, I know it's so uncomfortable, push this out to your network of friends. What's uncomfortable about it? Well, the very thing that you tell me, I never know what to expect when I open this up in the morning. And so there's a sense of excitement. There's a sense of foreboding. And I'm not sure I want to visit that on my friends or have to explain it. If they don't like it, do it anyway. Don't be like Disney, right? Be like Rocky. These are my two turtles, Cuff and Link. Pretty good, huh? All right. Pretty good when the numbers go up. That's what I'm looking for. And long before that happens, you're going to know. Charlie's up there. I'm asking Charlie, please put the good word in to the Lord God Almighty to bless all these people on 647. You bless me, and I make mistakes all day, every day, and you still bless me. They're doing better than me. Help them out. Bless them, dear God. And I know he's going to do it. He's going to do it. And look, it's Tuesday. It's Tazewell Tuesday. And I let you off the hook on those Tazewell stories because I really like those. And it turned into the advanced reprobate mind studies because there's so many broken-minded people around. But that's all right. There's room for everything, and we can be flexible. So let's be flexible. It's Tuesday. We're moving the pile. We're moving the rock up the hill. Let's keep it up. Thank you, and out.